it's Sam, talking about Uttara Ashada Nakshatra, ruled by the Vishwadevas, the universal principles. They include time, desire, action. It's where the inspiration of Sagittarius becomes the commitment of Capricorn. So check it out. Hey, it's Sam, and I'm talking about Uttara Ashada Nakshatra today. Uttara Ashada means later victory, and it's the principles in life that guarantee our later victory. And the early victory of Purva Ashada came from the god Apis, or the god of the ocean, the god of the water, which has to do with nurturing and love and care and feeling. That's what shows our early victories, the quality of our nurturing and the devotion that we have to the things we're trying to grow. But then the later victory, what brings things to completion and to perfection and to mastery and to the point to where they can be a strong, enduring presence in our life, is shown by Uttara Ashada, which are the Vishwadevas, which are the 10 universal principles in life. They have to do with time or kala, action or karma, desire or kama, truth or dharma, and many others. So our willingness to then bring to bear these universal principles and put those principles into action, do them, over time, have them be our heart's desire, have them be aligned with truth, that shows the later victories in life. And again, you want to understand, even things that we wind up discarding later, have gone through this process of planting seeds in Mula, nurturing seeds in Purva Ashada, then making a commitment to those things in the Uttara Ashada principle. So these are also principles and archetypes, but if you have planets in these nakshatras, you'll see a certain strength and a certain theme play out relative to those planets. So we can understand Uttara Ashada as that last section of Sagittarius becoming the commitment and sacrifice and duty and commitment of Capricorn. So all of these nakshatras that bridge two rashis are very important. So the first pada, the first section of Uttara Ashada, is in Sagittarius, again, which is that sign of hope, inspiration, purpose, teaching, higher wisdom. And then that moves into the focus, commitment of Capricorn, where we have to then take those truths that we've been pursuing in Sagittarius, that pursuit of truth, that inspiration, and then we have to reflect on it and take it into our heart and make an internal commitment to it and focus on it in Capricorn. You see, that's really what Capricorn is. It's the internal reflective quality of Saturn. So it's where we need to reflect on things and work through our fears, mainly in our own mind. And when we're given proper teachings, and when the teachings are good, and we're following the right gurus. And right means what's appropriate for us, and ultimately it needs to be aligned with the higher dharmic purpose. And then when it is, then we're reflecting upon and making a commitment to something that leads us to authentic wisdom and authentic change and transformation, where we're willing to sacrifice and go through the difficulties and the stresses that we all carry around. So Capricorn is that sign where we stabilize and internalize our teachings and make a commitment to working through our salvation. First, it has to happen psychologically and internally and emotionally in a very practical, structured way. That's what Capricorn is. This is why Capricorn is such a great sign for solitude, stillness, meditation, introspection. But we're looking for something to inspire us, to take into our heart and to commit to. So again, this is how Sagittarius becomes Capricorn, and we see that archetypally and literally shown by the nakshatra of Uttara Ashada, where we take those things that inspire us and we concentrate on them internally. So you don't even have to look at this like something spiritual or, obviously you can, because for instance, the things that you really believe in, like your firmly held beliefs, started as something that just sort of inspired you. But there's a lot of things that can inspire you and that can make you, excited for a few days. Like, for instance, like a relationship, or you meet a new person, or something comes into your life. Oh yeah, this is some new thing that, maybe this is the answer. That's the kind of excitement of Sagittarius. But again, if it's not really a pure teaching, then it just kind of fizzles out. But if it's pure and it's resonant with you, then what happens is it inspires you, and you kind of nurture it a little bit. Then you commit to it and you focus on it. And the more you focus on it, the more truth starts to come into your heart. And maybe it's the truth even to leave that teaching and to go to another teaching. Like let's say for instance, because we're talking about astrology, let's say even, for instance, like many Westerners, like with myself, I liked Western astrology for several years. I looked at that and followed it, and it was like, oh yeah, this is really cool. Wow, these archetypes and planets, signs, houses, the universe. And I liked it, but something about it, when I would face that choice to make a commitment to it, something about it didn't quite resonate. And it was actually because Western astrology especially wasn't really connected to Dharma and yoga and all that. And I was doing meditation and yoga and all that stuff 15 years before I really started to study astrology really seriously. So Western astrology was something that I also thought was cool, but it didn't resonate until I got into Vedic astrology and it was connected with yoga. Then those commitments and that later victory was guaranteed, because I found the kind of answer and the kind of inspiration that was exactly resonant with me. But it didn't take on the form of something that was a structure in my life, which is Capricorn. Capricorn is to make something structured, to take the inspiration of Sagittarius and turn it into a structure, into a form. It didn't turn into a structure in my life until I found the right kind of astrology, or the right kind of thing to study. And then as I did start studying it, for example, I would find certain teachers, or listen to certain things, or read certain books, or listen to certain lectures, and it was interesting, but again, it didn't really grab me until I started actually researching what turned into this book. That book was a product of about 3 years of just research. But the research was, this whole thing inspired me. And now I needed to take that inspiration and go into it and focus on it. And I wound up making something very practical and tangible as a result, this book. And that's actually what a book is, usually. This other book as well was a lot of research and inspiration, but then you go into it and you create something tangible with it. That's a very Capricorn thing. And by the way, I have Saturn in Capricorn. But anyway, So, Uttara Ashada Nakshatra, ruled by the Vishwadevas, the universal forces, where we take the inspiration of Sagittarius and turn it into the structure of Capricorn, is very important. And again, the structure is also an internal structure. It's an emotional structure. It's a psychological structure that gives you strength, that is a support for your own salvation and for your life. Those are the most important structures, but also an external structure. So this is the nakshatra that bridges Sagittarius and Capricorn, and you can see it very clearly as that entry point of Capricorn is the inspirations of Sagittarius and the focus and the later victory, which is guaranteed based on the universal principles and our focus on them.